Well, welcome everyone to this webinar focus on mentoring, organized by the SIG on Research on Learning and Instruction in Physical Education, SIG93 of AERA. Emily Jones was instrumental in designing this webinar, and unfortunately, she cannot be here today. So, thankfully, Kevin Richard has agreed to help with the co-hosting of this webinar. And so I'm Dominique Banville. I'm at George Mason University. And my co-panelist, I'll invite you to introduce yourself. Let's start with Oscar.
Hi, everyone. I'm Oscar Nunez Enriquez. Currently, I'm at Illinois State University. This is my second year over here. Previously, I was at the University of Chihuahua in Mexico. So,
All right.
welcome all.
Paul.
Hey everyone, I'm Paul Warner. I'm a third year PhD student at the University of Illinois. My research kind of focuses on adapted physical education and adapted physical activity, specifically how disabled students perceive their experiences within these spaces.
Luciana.
Well, hi, everybody. I am Luciana Zest. I am an associate professor at Towson University in Maryland. This is my fifth year here. Before that, I was at California State University, Chico for 5 years. And before that, I was at University of North Florida for 2 years. My research focus is on weight stigma in physical activity settings, mainly providing professional development for folks within those settings. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And yes, so I'm at George Mason University. I've been here for 25 years now. Started my career at McGill University for 3 years and then moved to the United States. And I've been here since then. So we're excited to explore with you how mentoring can support you in your role, whatever that role is, because that's the thing that I've realized with my career. And as you go through different phases in your career, then you have different needs, and that's something that we're gonna address. So the objective. So let me share my screen with you, so that. Uh, Here we go. So hopefully you can see my PowerPoint now. All right. So we're going to share sometimes to try to meet those objectives and aims. So we're going to try to consider the multidimensional roles of faculty, how mentoring intersects with those roles, and what are the benefits and the risks of mentoring relationships, and then trying to identify some opportunities to seek mentorship, within your department, institution, and professional organization. So there are multi-dimensional roles of faculty. As we all know, it's not only one thing, it's thousands of things. It's teaching, it's research, it's service, it's leaderships, it's community engagement. It might also be academic advising. It can also be administrative duties and all those other duties as assigned. And so in all those roles, there are different needs that one will have. And so depending on where you are in your career, so as an early career faculty, oftentimes the needs will be related to clarity on tenured and research productivity, whereas when you move into your mid-career professional phase, then you might want to look into leadership and then need support into gaining those skills, because this is a different skill set than teaching or than doing research. And then when you come to the late career faculty focus, then it might be more on legacy building or mentoring others. So we need to recognize these shifts and also try to tailor them to what our needs are. And of course, there's also the intersectionality of those identities and the career goals you might have, the institutional context you may be in. So all of this enters into play when we're thinking about who to ask for a mentor and what to ask for and what you need help with. So what is mentoring? So this is one definition, and as you can imagine, there are multiple definitions, and so this is the one that we decided to use. So mentorship is a personal and or professional relationship that is encouraged, arranged, or sustained by an institution or organization with the specific purpose of professional advancement and leadership development. So there is that formal mentoring that is structure, goal-oriented, and you may have an opportunity to participate in such structure. There's also the informal mentoring that is more organic and flexible and happens when you need it. That might be also chemistry driven. So you get along with someone and suddenly you're finding yourself really asking more and more of this person based on what you need. So there are definitely benefits and challenges in mentoring. So when we think about the benefits of mentoring, that mentoring can lead to career advancement. And I have an example for you later when I'm going to chat about my personal journey. It can also help really for retention and job satisfaction. If you are not happy or if you really struggle with an aspect of your job and do not have anybody to talk to about that, then that can lead you to basically seek other opportunities. However, it might be that if you talk to that one person that gives you the right information or what you needed at the time, then that can help you really shift your focus and start really developing a better job satisfaction. Support diversity and equity of underrepresented faculty is another benefits that can happen with finding the appropriate mentor. It can also help you with psychosocial support, reduce stress, reduce social isolation, networking and identity development. It might also contribute to your knowledge transfer and academic productivity. And then it can also help with clarity on continuous improvement and growth orientations. But just like anything, there's another side of that coin. And the drawback or ineffective mentoring for the mentee could be actually delayed career progression if there is a lack of guidance or support, decreased job satisfaction, reduced productivity, and increased stress and burnout. For the mentor as well, if it's not effective and if you do not have the skills to do it appropriately, it can damage your reputation, it can reduce your productivity, and it can also lead to a loss of trust or respect from your colleagues. So as a mentor, there is also things to consider when you accept that role, if asked. So there is so the National Center for Faculty Development and Diversity has created this mentoring map. And so when you think about the role of the faculty and the dynamic, we need to consider that maybe it's not only one person that is what you should be doing or that should help you with specific aspects of your jobs, but rather a multitude of people. And that's what the this mentoring map is talks about. And when I am done with my part of the presentation, I'm going to drop a PDF of this map so that you can all have it and you can start filling it in as you listen to us or later on. So I have we have definitions here, and on the website, and we'll drop that presentation as well in the chat later on, so you'll have the link. But there are more detailed definition about what each of those individuals or boxes could be. But when you look at substantive feedback, so if we start on the upper left side of this graphic, you can probably identify individuals in your department or outside that would be there for you to offer thoughtful and critical feedback if you needed them. And so that's definitely individuals that would professionally would help you, not only in terms of guidance on your scholarship, but also best publication outlets or venues for your work. So these are the individuals that can help you with that aspect of your work. On the upper right corner, then we have professional development. So there are just aspects of your job, especially when I think that when you start your job as a first-year faculty, you had received guidance and skills to do research and hopefully to teach. But there are just aspects of your job that you're going to find, like serving on committees, that you may not know necessarily how to behave, what to do, how to conduct yourself. So there are people on campus and off campus that hopefully can help you support and to develop those skills. Personally, here at George Mason, we have a system online through HR that offers tons of professional development opportunities. So it might not be just an individual, it might be actually the entire system. If we go down to sponsorship, so those individuals are individuals that have leverage socially and professionally because they have been there for a while, because they know a lot of people, and those people can be critical into basically talking about you when you're not there in positive terms, obviously, but identifying things that maybe you haven't seen that are available and say, tap you on the shoulder and say, it might be good for you. You might consider doing that. So sponsorship. Emotional support, as you can imagine, are really individuals, friends, family, other colleagues that are there to listen empathically and then offer your support and insight. Access to opportunity is also aspects of, so people that are aligned with your interests and agendas and will be able to give you the knowledge that you need into your institution. So let's say you work on a research project and your colleague that has been there for 25 years know a lot of people on campus and say, you know what? I know this faculty in the College of Public Health that you might be able to connect. And so those are individuals that can be critical for your interest and agenda. Role models, as you can imagine, are those individuals that you would like to, that you want to emulate, that really professionally and personally that they're exhibiting the kinds of behaviors and balance maybe in their life that you would like to reproduce. Accountability is really to try to monitor what is important to you. So I think it's easy to see accountability in your teaching because we have, student evaluation and research. We have, are we published or not published? But there's also accountability in your well-being. So try to identify someone that can help you with that. Intellectual community are those that are critical friends that can maybe challenge you, extend you on your thinking. And when you look at those percentages, so those are practically people that you would not hesitate to provide an idea that is not even halfway developed, like right, just a glimpse of an idea. And so those would be the individual at 0 to 25%. Like, all right, is this ridiculous or is there something there? And then, I mean, it might be the same individual that is there throughout the process, but also that might be different people that you would tag on, you would really ask for their input at different times in their in your journey. So and notice that on this, that oftentimes there's on campus and off campus. So it might be that it's not just around you, but in your extended circle. So at this point, I'm gonna invite Kevin to take over, and each panelist will have 5 to 7 minutes to respond to prompts that we had been given, and then eventually engage all of you into the discussion. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dominique, and thank you for framing this. I think it's a really good way to kind of start the webinar and symposium, get us all thinking. I love the panel that we have today because we have folks who span career phases and time spent in academia. So I think we'll get some really good, broad, different angles and perspectives. I also want to put in a plug for that mentoring map. We did a little thing on mentoring in our lab just a few weeks ago when I introduced all of our doctoral students to that mentoring map, and at the end of that meeting encouraged everybody to do just what Dom encouraged us to do, which is to go take that map and fill it out and see where some of those holes are and then where you're strong. As Dominique introduced before, our panelists today are Paul Warner, Oscar Nunez Enriquez, Luciana Vest, and Dominique Vanville herself. Each of the panelists were prompted with the following as they built and reviewed their maps. What mentoring relationships have been the most influential and why? How have your mentoring needs evolved across your career and life stages? What mentoring structure, internal or external, have supported you most effectively? And where are you currently seeking mentorship or anticipating future needs? And so in thinking about those questions, I want to invite each of the 4 panelists to give about 5 to 7 minutes in response. Paul Warner, if you don't mind leading us off. I saw that you are already unmuted, and makes sense. We'll just go Paul, Oscar, Luciana, and then Dominique, give her a little bit of time to catch her breath. She's been talking already. So Paul, 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. I think, again, I really value that mentoring map that's been shared in the drive. And one thing that it helped me kind of realize is you might have some people that fill in many boxes and many areas on your map, but you also might need to be proactive and find opportunities for mentorship. I think while you are assigned, at least as a doctoral student, you're assigned mentors, there's also, I found a lot of value in looking around and again, filling some of those other boxes. For those of you, so I like to look at it as like accumulating mentors. For those of you who know me, I enjoy people. I enjoy learning from people. And I think I was faced at some point in my life with the reality that I don't know everything. And in fact, most things I don't know. And so I needed mentors to help guide me to coming up with that information or and rather than figure everything out myself, I found it far less stressful and exhausting to seek mentorship and find mentors, whether it be professional organizations, within my department, within other departments. But I've really valued the mentorship I've received across my career throughout my life. I've had mentors who were highly influential in steering me into physical education. I was going to be an athletic trainer, but I had a mentor say, those are pretty brutal hours. You're not going to work for the Packers, or it's very difficult to work for the Packers. And so perhaps there's another field that could be related to physical activity and movement that you might enjoy. I've had mentors suggest, hey, you really work well with some of the kids with disabilities or disabled kids in this lab. Perhaps that might be an avenue that you could pursue down the road. I've had mentors connect me with other opportunities such as master's programs, doc programs, career. Like when I was a teacher for a while, that was kind of set up through some of the connections that I had made, and my mentors kind of directed me to that. As well as I know we talked a little bit jokingly about having a family and starting a family. So I was faced with a tough choice to stay where I knew things in Utah or move to Illinois. And I actually sought mentorship from people that I didn't really know, unbiased folks to help me make those decisions. So I've highly valued mentorship over the course of my life and continue to value the mentorship that I've received from people, whether it be conducting research or learning to conduct research, how to parent, how to be an academic, how to connect with communities kind of at the ground level. I think you can pick and choose mentorship for different areas of your discipline. And so your mentor for research maybe doesn't have to be your parenting mentor as well. I think that's important to note. Again, I think it can be daunting as a student to kind of seek out some of this mentorship. You have to be vulnerable and brave and get involved. Your mentors might not know that you're aligned or might not know the feedback style that you need. And so providing guidance to your mentors can improve the quality of mentorship and some of those connections that you have as well. And I don't want to talk for too long here, but I made a joke in the meeting that Kevin alluded to that, at least in my view, when you receive mentoring or support or connection, whatever it may look like, it doesn't need to be formal. If it's the informal kind, awesome. But at least my view is that you might establish that mentor for life. So I joked with Dr. Richards that, you're stuck with me, whether it's a question in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, trying to establish and maintain relationships with your mentors so that you can seek advice from other people in later career stages is also important. And I think I'll leave it there to you, Oscar. I know I'm looking at the clock here.
Paul, that was fantastic. You're right at 5 minutes. Appreciate that very, very much. So moving from a current doctoral student to somebody who is serving as a current assistant professor, Dr. Nunez Enriquez, the floor is yours. You're muted. You're muted, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me first. Going along what Paul said about being open-minded and being vulnerable, that's something really powerful that we need to do. And as for my experience, one of the things that I've noticed that we need to keep as scholars is that we need to be open-minded and keep that humility of being not the only all-knowing in all those things, especially if you're transitioning from one institution to another one. And transition from one institution to another where the system works differently, thus you need to understand and kind of like learn how that new system works. So keep ourselves open-minded and willing to actually learn something differently. That's something that we need to focus on as well. Technology has helped us a lot to connect, so let us use it as much as we can to connect with everybody else. Um, Especially as international scholars, that could be a challenge that we need to face on different levels. But technology has also helped us to connect. So why not to use it in our favor? As international scholar, one thing that I also can say is that since English is my second language, try to find someone who probably could relate to you on those challenges as well, but also probably someone who speaks your own native language. So you can better communicate sometimes the challenges because there's some words that can be lost in translation. And in that way, you can better communicate your ideas, your concerns, your feelings, and how can you improve yourself in different ways. Because that's quite a challenge, especially if you're not capable enough to express yourself on in different situations as well. Because that's one of the things that we need to be willingly to address, um, and also to connect and take pretty much everything as an opportunity for improvement. Even the smallest feedback from your students, and probably some comments that made other colleagues made can make you realize that, oh, there's something that I need to change. And that could hurt our egos as scholars because we think that as we move on, things are going great. But yes, are going great because the things you've done so far worked. But if there's something showing up that you need to change, go from there. But it takes a lot of courage, as Paul said. It takes a lot of bravery that you need to face those challenges as well, and then stay connected with others on a professional and a personal level as well. That may share personal experiences that can help you relate with those challenges that you may be facing at a time, and find time for yourself as well. You may have mentoring moments, but at the same time, you need to mentor yourself on how to address things by your own, and then share it to others, and then pay it forward, as we can say, pay it forward to someone who may have had those challenges, or maybe they didn't are not passing through those challenges, but giving them a different perspective on what they can be expecting on this new upcoming adventure that they will be facing probably in the next few months. And even though that all the things that we're sharing right now are more from a personal level, we gotta be able to notice that our personalities or ourselves are actually impacting our surrounding community. Thus, we need to find ways on how to improve ourselves from a personal level, and then pass along to that professional level that is gonna be impacted for or from our own personality. Dr. Richards.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nunez Enriquez. If I could now turn to Dr. Vest, we can continue on with the panel.
Okay. I wanted to try and look at those questions, but okay. So this is my 12th year in academia. I've worked across 3 universities, and I want to start by saying I've never had any formal mentorship beyond my dissertation, my doctoral dissertation committee. And when thinking about the most influential mentorships I have, that perhaps is the most influential. Dr. Emily Jones, who's not here, Dr. Eloise Elliott, and Dr. Sean Bolger. Like those 3 people, I spent 3 years close to them, and they taught me everything I needed to know at that time about higher ed and about how to prepare myself for my first job. And because we did a lot of research that required travel, we traveled a lot together. So we spent a lot of time in the car, a lot of time at restaurants. So I had a lot of opportunity to ask questions, right? And those relationships and what I learned from them were so influential at the beginning of my career and on how, to establish myself as a faculty member. But I also had opportunity to see their lives, and they invite me to their homes. I could see how they managed, how they balanced, right, the personal lives and the professional lives. And I think that was incredibly valuable. And as the relationship changed, right, now I meet with them at conferences, we go for drinks and whatnot, we go for lunch. So things change, but I know that anytime if I have a need, I could reach out to them. But just this week, I was trying to make a decision. Should I work on project A or project B? And that Sean Bolger's voice just came right to me like, you work on the project that is closest to the finish line. And I was like, okay, that's an easy decision. I learned that back then, and I just kept that with me until today. So that I think was like just such a blessing to work with these three people. Then at my first job, I met a person, I think Oscar mentioned it. I'm an immigrant, I came from Brazil, and I met a faculty member who was also an immigrant from Romania, and we became friends, right? And there was never a formal relationship, but she became a role model. She is the role model that guides my directions. So I saw her completing her immigration processes. And it was through seeing her going through those steps and those benchmarks that I saw what was possible for me. It was because I saw her buying a house that I knew I could buy a house. It was because I saw her becoming a citizen. I knew I could become a citizen. It was right now, she just become a full professor, and I know that will be. I see her work ethic, and I just admire her so much. And she's my friend, but she probably doesn't even know this. But every time we talk on the phone, we discuss our careers and our challenges, right? And there's so much relationship in there. So those have been incredible, influential for me. Um, Obviously, the mentoring needs shift. I just took on a program coordinator role in the summer. And that is a complete different role for me. It's an administrative, a leadership role. And I haven't done that before. So now I'm seeking different types of mentorship. I'm going to department chairs. When I was preparing this, the map, I noticed that even though I haven't had any formal mentorship, I could find people that represented every single area that is here. And I found that I'm going a lot to my husband now because my husband is an administrator in higher ed. So I'm going to him like, hey, how should I do about this meeting? How should I do about this retreat? When do I schedule it? So these are things that we don't even realize until I fill the map. The other day, a colleague required me to write a letter saying how she mentored me. And the first thing I did was before that, I was like, what is mentorship, right? Like, so I could figure it out, did she mentor me? How did she do it? So I could actually write a good letter. And this is excellent for that, right? Now I'm going to actually use this map to say she mentored me in this area, that area, and that area. I am the kind of person that asks questions, so I'm always asking questions to people. I am not embarrassed to ask for help and to ask questions. So I'm just, if I need help, I don't hesitate. We have a center for teaching and learning at my university. Every university has. I've always benefited greatly from those centers. But I'm building a relationship with the director of my center now. And when opportunities come up, we talked about sponsorship. She has invited me to a couple of those. And she offered to meet with me and kind of like think about my goals in terms of leadership. So I appreciate those opportunities, So this willingness to sort of, there probably might not be a formal structure, you're probably going to have to be asking for help, but people are willing to help. I just recently went back to school. I'm taking college classes now in AI. And one thing I found myself is I'm going to be meeting with my professors. So I've already met with two of my professors because they are doing this. They are the guides, and why not, right? Why not meet with the people who are doing this, who know more than I, to seek their perspective? So I would say I call that mentorship. So asking questions, I think finding, one of the questions was how I'm currently seeking mentorship and anticipating future needs. My next step is to become full professor. And that's what I want. I want to do a bit of a tour, asking around in my department, like, what are the benchmarks? What are the expectations? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Is this a good opportunity? So the asking questions and the seeking support of those around us that are trustworthy, that we see as people with knowledge, expertise, and are willing to give their time, And as well as at the same time, how can I give my time to others, right? How can I become at this stage mentoring junior faculty in my department by being willing to give my time, answer questions. I tell them all the time, please ask questions. You know, you can ask me a question every day for the rest of the year and it's not going to bother me. So I learn with their questions, right? I catch things when they ask me questions. So this whole back and forth of seeking and asking questions has been incredibly helpful, and I'm just so grateful for all the people who had helped my journey, because without this, all these other people, I wouldn't have been able to do none of this, neither my research, right? The feedback. I think my collaborators, my scholars, every time I send my work to them, it comes back better. Every time you say, hey, can you give feedback? Can you, like, it comes back better with another idea. And I'm like, oh, thank God I sent to them, because, that is great. So, all right, this is it for me. Passing on to Dominique. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you very much. So as you just alluded to, we'll go to Dominique last, but definitely not least. She's got some additional kind of perspectives speaking from her current role as Associate Dean for Student and Academic Affairs. So again, providing perspectives from across the career phase and also from across different positionalities in higher education. So Dr. Banville.
Thank you. Coming in fourth position like this, it's I would echo a lot of what has been said, from the beginning of my career, who were my mentors then. I mean, my advisor, my dissertation advisor, Pauline, was instrumental in helping me, getting to where I am now. And then it evolves, right? Like as a first year faculty here at Mason, Linda Ricard was my mentor, because she was here. She had research project. I was able to work with her, and then she was in charge of the program. And then when she retired, then I took that over, and that was my first leadership opportunity. And it was relatively easy to slip into that role, because the program is small, and we get along well. And the work that needs to be done, like accreditation stuff, everybody had a hand into it. It's really when and then I became the director of the School of Kinesiology. And I was in that role for 7.5 years. And I really had very, very big challenges with some of the faculty within that school. And my go-to person then became my senior associate dean. And Martin, he has now retired, but as you said, Luciana, I mean, I have his phone number, and I just text him, like, when can you chat? I need to ask you some questions. I need your input on this. And the thing so I've heard the term vulnerable, right? Which is critical, that you recognize that person you will be vulnerable when asking this. So what needs to come back from that person is trust. Like, you trust that what you're going to say is going to stay between you and that individual, especially when you get higher and higher into the administration, because now you're not talking about student, you're talking about colleagues. And you're talking about colleagues in a way that is not necessarily flattering, and that you need to make sure that what is gonna be shared is gonna stay. And I have to say that in a lot, when I was filling in my map, there is at the bottom of the map, and we didn't talk about this, but it says safe space, and you need that. Like, I know I'm not supposed to talk about XYZ, but I have to talk about XYZ with someone. And might it be your spouse? It might be, it might even be your close colleagues. that know that what I'm sharing now is not getting out of this room, but I need to talk about this, right? And one thing too, I mean, and Martin, we started our relationship by golfing. He invited me to a golfing tournament, I will recommend that if you can, because when do you have an opportunity to have a 4 hour, sometimes 5 hour meeting with your associate dean, right? Like, or anybody that you want to aspire to be, or that is a good role model for you. Golf is a good opportunity to spend a long time with someone. But I'll share also one more thing about sponsor. And so years ago, I went to this breakfast organized by the Chamber of Commerce in Prince William County, where we used to be. We were on a different campus, and it was on campus. So I said, why not? And the individual giving the conference was a female executive for, I believe it was Georgia Electric, like a big company. And she talked about the difference between a mentor and a sponsor. And she said, a mentor will help you and answer those difficult questions because they know your field and all that. But a sponsor is going to be there to, and as I said earlier in the presentation, to say, when a job comes up or when something comes up, that person can say, Dominique would be good for this. And so I had been working with Jeanette, who is now an assistant. She's vice provost for the university. So she has really gone up the ranks. I mean, at the time she was in the provost office already, but not that high. And I worked with her on different committees, and I would recommend that if you want to ever get into higher administration, is to volunteer for committees that are university wide, because then you get to know so many people in so many different offices. And so after hearing that conference, I said, you know what, Jeanette could be a good sponsor for me, because when I was looking at my career and where I wanted to end up, ultimately the job I have now is what I wanted. So, here I am. But the other part would have been in the provost office. Like, I thought that would be interesting for me. And so I actually mentioned that to Jeanette to say, if you could be my sponsor, you've seen my work ethic, you've seen what I can do. If you hear about any opportunities, think about me. And she laughed and she said, yeah, I will think about you. And for the last 9 years, I've been the faculty athletics representative for George Mason. And it's because of Jeanette. That role became open, and she immediately thought about me. She said, yeah, Dominique would be great for this role. And I absolutely loved that job. Actually, it was not negotiable. When I got the job as associate dean, I told my dean that I would not give that up. I would give, a lot of things up, but I would not give that up. So, I guess to close in my comments here, I'm now mentoring a few people, and I enjoy that. And I will continue to believe that getting involved, and I know Risto teases me all the time about being the epitome of service, but I think that
paragon of
a
service.
paragon, here you go,
Yes.
paragon, that it has served me well in a way, because I think that it has allowed me to really expand my network immensely. And just, I know I'm a little bit over time, Kevin, but I have had the opportunity through HR, to do leadership training, and I also recommend that. And through that, I was assigned mentors outside of my field, and that was actually helpful in asking questions that were really impactful. So, yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that, Dominique. So we've got about 10 minutes left in the program, and I do have a few questions that Emily had kind of pre-planned, but want to prioritize any questions that you all have. So before I go to the list in front of me, are there any questions from the audience? So maybe while you're thinking of one, let me throw this one out. Um, so just to anybody on the panel, how have your mentoring needs, how have your needs for being mentored evolved over your career and life stages? Something that I think some of you spoke to some, but maybe if you have any more direct thoughts.
Yeah, I think early on I felt like mentoring was a very like direct instruction approach. Like I would receive mentoring, but I couldn't shape mentoring. And as I've grown, I felt like, oh, now if I need more critical feedback on a document, like all the warm fuzzies are really nice, and that might be really important for some people. But if I want more direct feedback, I need to say, hey, can you please be more specific or give me direct examples here? I also think, um, yeah, I guess being proactive and seeking mentorship is something that maybe I would have been hesitant to do earlier on, but now saying, "Oh man, I keep reading articles by whoever it may be. Maybe I should reach out and see if they want to connect and see if they could help me steer my focus or shape my interpretation of a certain area."
Thank you, Paul.
I
Dominique?
absolutely. I mean, when I look at my career, it has evolved so much as to who I needed when. And it's not that those people don't are not important anymore in my life or whatever, but it's just that that's not what I need anymore. And so that shift I think happens naturally. And I think it's perfectly okay because you need to go to the person or people that will give you what you need at that time. Absolutely.
Thank you. Other panelists, any follow-up on that question, or I can throw another one out?
Just a quick, just to follow up. As we are actually building ourselves and constructing our own personalities as scholars, not to be afraid of getting stuck in one specific area. For instance, you're finding yourself on a teaching and research interest that you were taught throughout your doctorate program. But as you move on and continue finding yourself on a different interest, try to find people that goes along to those interests and let it go or let it happen in, like organically happening in a way. So if life is guiding you through that process, let it flow. Because sometimes I think we resist ourselves and not letting those things happen just because we were taught that we needed to stay in one only direction. So find someone that may help you on other directions, but let it happen.
Thank you. Any audience questions, or I think I probably got time to throw out one more for the panel if nobody from the audience has anything.
Can I have a question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, when I look at my situation as a graduate student, so it's a little bit like obviously I need kind of brave to contact to someone I can ask some questions, but I have like community members. Obviously, the community members support me a lot, but I'm looking for someone who I want to ask some questions. So how do you like manage this like kind of tension? Like I have like my advisor and my community members who want me to like study in this way. And I thought if I have something very interesting and I like to contact someone who can support me, like, how do you find this balance? It's,
It's a very good question. Panel
yeah.
members?
I can try, right? My sister is now a graduate student, and we talk a lot about things. And
Mhm.
um, I mean, you are a free person to ask questions to people you identify, right? We are free people to ask questions to different people. It will all vary, right? It depends. I think one of the best um, things I've learned as a graduate student was to be around and be involved, just being around, just being there, just people seeing your face. That itself just like opens the door for all of these mentorships that are here, right? Just be within people, right? And there were times as a graduate student that I asked questions to others and I didn't feel that there were tensions or, you're seeking information, you're seeking knowledge. And if the answer conflicts, then there is another step. Then you can cross that bridge when you get there. But the fact of, asking questions, I think people like to answer questions, right? People like to be asked questions, to be seen as the expert. So I think should be fine.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think I agree with everything that was just mentioned, but I think it's a important to balance current and future plans as well. So being realistic, your committee members, you may need to weigh those a little bit heavier at the time to get your degree, right? To get through your program and check those boxes. However, at the same time, that doesn't mean you can't keep some of the other feedback like held on to for post PhD or whatever. And this may be my OST training coming through, but I feel like mentorship could be a little bit dialectical in the fact that, the level of trust or relationship that you have or the importance that you have may shape the way that you receive some of those insights and decide what to grasp onto at different stages. I hope that wasn't too abstract, but I don't know. That's my thought.
Great, thank you. So if I just piggyback on that, like answers, like that's one of the reasons why I started the graduate network program right now in the ARI 93. So like if I can find like good like sponsor or like mentorships, like our graduate students can sponsor each other or could be a great mentor each other. So we can learn from each other. And that's the one of the main reason I started this like network. So as long as we have some like good friends or have like a relationship with other graduate, the students I can learn from, or I can ask some question like simple or like, the easy questions for the graduate students, and then I can like spread out to other faculty members that I can ask. So if you have like graduate students, please let me know. We'd like to make like great, strong network right now.
Awesome. Thank you. And fantastic question. So as we move towards the top of the hour and get ready to close up, I just put in the chat, Kelly Simonton dropped this in a few minutes ago as well, but it's just a link to the mentoring program sign up. And Dominique, I think you were going to say a few words about this in closing.
Yeah, so within the thank you for putting this in the chat. I have also put in the chat earlier the PowerPoint, and in it the slide before last shows the application if you want to be part of this mentoring program. I I will encourage everyone and anyone to participate, and we will also need mentors, right? So we need both mentee and mentors. And as you realize today, it's not because you are, let's say, a brand new faculty or a mid-career faculty that you would not have necessarily. It's not only old people like me or experienced people like me that can mentor, right? Like, so you need different mentors at different times. So maybe what you need right now is another early career individual to talk to and share. And so if you are interested both as a mentee or as a mentor, let us know. And we will try to do the best matchmaking as possible. But I also encourage you to go for that organic, you know, like you've met someone at a conference, you had a good connection, reach out and then ask your question. I think that's that also how it happens. So yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Yeah, Kevin.
Yep, Tori, did you have Kelly said you had something to say too?
Yeah, just on behalf of the leadership team, first off, thank you all. That was wonderful. The panel did fantastic, and I learned a lot to think about from all of this. So great work. Passing on, just thank you all for attending the webinar, and please continue to attend the webinar. We are always seeking additional members. So if you are not a SIG93 member at this time, we'd love to have you join, attend the conference, even if you're not presenting, but announcements will be coming out soon. And then shortly after that, a call for Invisible College submissions. So keep your eyes on your email. If you are not currently a member, you're likely not getting our emails. So please try to join so that you can be a part of our email database and you can get all these updates and keep engaging with the SIG in the best way possible. That's it. Any closing remarks for you, Kevin?
I no, thank you everybody for being here. It was a pleasure to kind of hop in at the last minute and to learn with you and from you today. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for being here.
All right, so we're going to use this